He was just reading the trends. But here's an example of real insider knowledge.
What is Scenario 12D? We know it's a war game scenario, that it has to do with airline counterterrorism. Why is that important enough to kill for?
Because it's no longer a game.
But if some terrorist group wants to act out this scenario, why target you for assassination?
Depends on who your terrorists are.
The men who conceived of it in the first place. You're saying our government plans to commit a terrorist act against a domestic airline?
There you go. Indicting the entire government as usual. It's a faction. A small faction.
For what possible gain?
The Cold War's over, John. But with no clear enemy to stockpile against, the arms market's flat. But bring down a fully loaded 727 into the middle of New York City, and you'll find a dozen tin-pot dictators all over the world just clamoring to take responsibility and begging to be smart-bombed.
I can't believe it. This is about increasing arms sales.
Mm-hmm. This is birdcage liner. Wild-eyed crap right up there with Elvis as an alien and two-headed babies.
You obviously read it.
Don't be so damn naive.
You're absolutely sure that this is the targeted flight?
This flight was chosen primarily for its visibility. It's scheduled to pass over Manhattan on its way to Boston.
You said they intend to bring us down in the middle of New York City?
Byers, your flight's going to make an unscheduled stop in exactly 22 minutes.
The corner of Liberty and Washington, Lower Manhattan.
The World Trade Center. I'm going to crash the plane into the World Trade Center.
I'll tell the flight crew.
All right, try cutting electrical power.
You've thought of that. You've thought of everything.
New York Center. This is Atlantic National Flight 265 Heavy. We are declaring an emergency. We have 110 souls on board, 16,000 pounds of fuel. We've got manual override.
The lone gunman ran in 2001.
That's right. 2000. It was a mid-season replacement, so oh yeah, right, 2001. We shot in 2000. January 2001 we started airing.
When did you shoot the episode with the government secretly hijacking a jet by remote control to fly in the World Trade Center?
Yeah, that we shot in March of 2000.
On the morning of September 11th, 2001, you see a plot from the TV show you were in, to some extent coming true. Tell us in a nutshell what happened in that episode.
There is a government plot where they take a computer and basically override all the pilot's control systems, and by remote control are going to fly it into the World Trade Center in the series to start a worldwide war on terror, on terrorists.
So what do you think it is, or any ideas or feelings or thoughts on that? You know, what is it? Is it an inside track, a conspiracy with the writers of the Lone Gunman? Or is it that they were tuned into the news? And, I mean, Tom Clancy
wrote it in his book, too, right? The interesting thing that I had heard, that this goes back before even Lionel Chatwin, that Chris Carter was at a cocktail party, and he felt very out of place, and apparently he was in a tuxedo way in the corner, and the psychic came over to him and said, whatever you're working on is going to make you a ton of money. And that was just before he did the X-Files. Well, that psychic I talked to, I go, what were you doing at the Hollywood party? She goes, I was hired by the CIA to go to parties and then just go home and email what I talked about at people. So the CIA has been tracking Hollywood parties since the 80s in order to determine, because, you know, Hollywood films are a...
They set the agenda.
They set a foreign policy, sort of. I mean,
no, it's a projection. It's America's dominance. They admit a lot of it's Hollywood.
Right. And so they want to make sure that all the producers and the writers, that nobody's thinking anything so radical or doing a movie that will completely undermine their foreign policy plans. And that they do that through sending women to parties and having them email. It's the weirdest thing. It's kind of creepy. Everybody I tell in Hollywood, all my actor friends, are kind of freaked out about it.
This is Steve Jackson's card game Illuminati, the Game of Conspiracy. From beginning to end, this deck reeks of insider info. The final goal of the game is, yep, you guessed it, none other than world domination, naturally. The sheer outlandishness of some of the cards desensitizes those outside of the know, but a deeper look reveals that there's not a single card in the deck that hasn't happened, isn't happening, or won't happen. Most of the cards depict a sinister brand of humor mixed in with knowledge of a deep insider, but we can't rule out the paranormal in this case. Steve Jackson, the game's creator, dabbles in magic. Steve Jackson, founder of Steve Jackson Games, owned a spin-off company called Illuminati Online, which eventually became a website hosting company whose servers were based in Austin, Texas. In 1990, the Secret Service raided Illuminati Online and ran off with their servers. After losing the case in federal court, the Secret Service was forced to return the servers and pay Illuminati Online $50,000. Then, in 1999, Wired magazine reports that a group of hackers broke into campaign website of then presidential hopeful George W. Bush, only to find out that George's website was hosted by none other than Steve Jackson's Illuminati Online. And while you try to contain your amazement, I'm going to analyze this guy's psychology. First, hosting your campaign website from Illuminati Online is completely unnecessary. Why not teddybears.com or praisejesus.org? It's not like other insiders need help identifying you. Your family has been calling for a New World Order since there was a New World Order. Just another example of them giving clues they needn't give. So, if not by insider info, then what's the other angle?
What happened on 9/11 is a phony, and we've never learned the truth about 9/11. The whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips. And this is given me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about? We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded women's lib. They do whatever they want to do. What we want doesn't matter anymore. It's their agenda, it's their plans that matter. They have all the money they want. They can make all the money they want. They have a machine that can make all the money. It's not about money. It's about control. It's about their vision of how they want to see the world. You hear George Bush saying democracy means freedom. No. Democracy equals New World Order. I believe God put me on this earth to be the best person I could be, and put everybody on this earth to be the best they can be. You have to stand up for what's right in life. And unless you do that, you're nothing. It's an interest or a farce. The whole thing, because they do whatever they want to do. And that's when I realized America is not America. It's not the land that I was taught it was. Because they can do whatever they wish to do. And there's nothing the citizen can do about it.
Now, you've made America Freedom to Fascism. I want to walk through that film, and I want to encourage everybody out there to get a copy of it.
So I had a friend, Nick Rockefeller, who was one of the Rockefeller family. And he, when I was running for governor in Nevada, he came to me, introduced himself to me through an attorney. And we became friends. We started talking about things.
Eric, can you be specific about when you met Rockefeller, how it happened in these discussions?
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me and knew I was running for governor in Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. And I met him, and I liked him, and he was a very, very smart man, and we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts. And he's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later, 9/11 happened. And I remember he was telling me how you're going to see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places. And there's going to be this war on terror, which there's no real enemy. And the whole thing is a giant hoax, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no question. He says, there's going to be war on terror. And he's just laughing. There's no... Who are we fighting? I mean, why do you think 9/11 happened and then nothing's happened since then? Do you think that our security is so great here that these people who pulled off 9/11, who were able to, can't knock down another plane? Come on, it's ridiculous. 9/11 was done by people in our own government and our own banking system to perpetuate the fear of the American people into subordinating themselves to anything the government wants them to do. That's what it's about, and to create this war, this endless war on terror. And that's why and that was the first lie. And the next lie was going into Iraq, you know, to get Saddam Hussein out with his weapons of mass destruction. That was the next lie.
And he's saying to you that there's going to be this big event, and then out of that we're going to have a war on terror, and it's just going to go on and on. Right.
An endless war on terror without any real enemy. That you can never, so you can never define a winner.
And did he say that it's going to be perfect because you can't define an enemy? It just goes on
and
on?
Yeah, because you can't define a winner. There's no one to beat, so it goes on and on forever. And they can do whatever they want. They scare the hell out of the American public. Look, this whole war on terror is a fraud. It's a farce. It's very difficult to say it out loud because people are intimidated against saying it. Because if you say it, they want to make you into a nutcase. But the truth has to come out. That's why I'm doing this interview. The fact of the matter happens to be that the whole war on terror is a fraud. It's a farce. Yeah, there's a war going on in Iraq because we invaded Iraq. And people over there fighting, you know. But the war on terror, that's a joke, you know. And until we discover what really happened on 9/11 and who was responsible for 9/11, because that's where the war on terror emanates from. That's where it comes from. It was 9/11 that allowed this war on terror to begin. And until we get to the bottom root of 9/11, the truth of 9/11, we'll never know about the war on terror.
Aaron, you said that...